Well, we're back. It's Liquidate All Assets with Guru and Dibs. And by the way, catch us on Sunday on the BetQL network on the Odyssey app on Sunday Bets. Goo, episode 42. What's going on, brother? 42. Who do you got?
The one and only Mr. USC. I'm going to give up my body part to go back and play Mr. Ronnie Lott. That's it.
Yeah.
I nailed that one. Tell me I nailed it,
No,
dude.
you nailed it. I mean, Jackie Robinson, if we're going to
Oh
go
my
global.
gosh.
No, but I mean, we're here in the Bay. It's Liquidate All Assets. It's not Sunday Bets. You can go Ronnie Lott, and you'll never go wrong here in the Bay.
I love it. I love it. I miss you, man. Let's get to it.
Yeah, it's Liquidate All Assets with Guru and Dibs. We got baseball picks. We've got NBA picks. We've got Kentucky Derby coming up
Yeah.
on Saturday. We've got Champions League going on right now. Goo, there's so much. Our cup runneth over with activity.
This is the best part, man. And like you said, we got my mint julep. I'm getting ready for that. I got that on ice, if it can be put on ice. And we got baseball, basketball. Just had the draft, so I'm juiced.
I love it. Everyone forgets about May when we talk about the best sports month because, you do have the Derby, you've got NBA playoffs, you've got MLB kind of getting underway, you have the NFL draft fallout and futures bets. We'll get into all that. It's Liquidate All Assets brought to you by Livermore Casino. Get in on the action at Livermore Casino in downtown Livermore on First Street, Tri-Valley's only poker destination, offering also blackjack, three-card poker, Baccarat, no player collection. Enjoy their 24-hour gaming floor, full bar, and restaurant with indoor and outdoor patio seating. Watch all your favorite games at Livermore Casino. Open 7 days a week. Visit us at 3571 First Street today in downtown Livermore on First Street, Livermore Casino. Tri-Valley's place to play. Please play responsibly. Goo, talk to me about your Reds bet that you're loving so far here on your 10-day tester.
I mean, this team is just three. They were 3-19 coming into yesterday, and I'm saying to myself, my goodness, this could be a project. This could be something I want to follow. They've lost 11 in a row once already this season, 10 in a row on the road. And I said, I'm going to go John Elway and told you guys yesterday, you Willard and Steiny, I'm going to do 7 games. And last night I did the run line, minus 105. Woodruff against Malley. And of course, they lose 5-2. And I'm just sitting up here like they're going to lose again tonight. They are bad, Dibs, and they're threatening all time bad. The Cincinnati Spiders. So I'm going to see when they win and how much we can win. Hopefully, if you jump in the pool. But I'm following this because I'll say this: for you to be 3-19, you're not trying to lose on purpose. You're just not that good.
Yeah.
So why not? Why not eat some chicken while they lose?
Yeah, and that game's coming up here in about 90 minutes. And the Reds, by the way, the run line is actually 2.5 plus 2.5
Oh my
for the
God.
Reds. I've never seen this where the run line is not at 1.5, but it's
That's
2.5.
incredible.
Yeah, and the Reds, by the way, are plus 2.5. That's a minus 135. If you want Milwaukee giving 2.5 runs, it's plus 110. Which way do you see that? It's Tyler Mahle against Brandon Woodruff tonight.
No, yeah, I believe that was last night. But
Oh, yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm looking at it right now, Dibs, and I'm like, they may lose by 3 runs, but
Yeah.
now it seems like my theory Vegas is on to. I've never seen the run line. Producer Kyle, your producer for Willard and Dibs, he's on Cincinnati thinking, okay, the streak's got to end. But I'm still going minus 2.5 with Milwaukee. It's incredible.
Yeah, Vladimir Gutierrez, you're right, against Freddie Peralta.
Okay, that's it.
And,
Gotcha.
Gutierrez 0-4, of course, with a 741. Peralta is 0-1 with a 5.00. So Guru is fading Cincinnati for 10 straight days. It's his thing. He's 1-0 so far.
Yeah.
So if you want to take Milwaukee on the run line, go ahead and do that. Let's get into the NBA, though, Goo. And before we talk about tonight's games, Philly and Miami, Dallas and Phoenix, what did you make about last night, Memphis evening the series against Golden State?
It's arguably a playoff series as far as the Warrior fans are concerned, or just basketball fans. that's going down in the archives as one of their greatest, I won't say challenges, but these two games between John Morant led Memphis and Steph Curry and the Warriors has been nonstop. It's like up and down. And now the series, rightfully so, is 1-1 coming to Chase Center. Dibs, I'm all in. And I got to tell you, you already know how I feel about the big three with the Warriors, but there's a new sheriff in town. And when I say sheriff, I want to talk about superstar and John Morant. I knew he was good, but, that was like he's small in stature. I don't know. But what he did these first two games and last night, Dibs, he is up there and he's moving up my list fast as being an all-time small guy that plays Tom Hanks type big. He is
Yeah.
incredible, and I'm having the pleasure watching him.
I'm going to give you a 4 for your Tom Hanks big because he is playing big and he came through late, big time in that game. So when you look at John Morant for the next game, are you looking for a John Morant over on his total points?
I'm going under, and I'm going under because I give Steve Kerr, Mike Brown credit, and that Warrior team that they're going to make Memphis have to beat them a different way. So I think Ja too says, you know what, we're too Ja heavy. Maybe I need to get into my James Harden type of game and facilitate, and not facilitate meaning bad, but get others like Bane and our guy who got thrown out. He may not even be available with that hard foul. What's my guy's name? We talked about him all day.
Dylan Brooks.
Brooks.
Yeah.
So with that said, I like Clark. I like Jaren Jackson Jr., Stanford, Zaire Williams. So I'm going to take the under, Dibs.
Yeah, it's -6.5. Warriors favored by 6.5. The over under 226, and player props still coming ahead here in Liquidate All Assets. But let's talk about tonight's games, Goo. Philadelphia at Miami. Miami is -8 against a Embiidless Philadelphia.
I'm going to say this. I've been James Harden's biggest fan and supporter, and I did it when he was at his peak. I don't know if he's at his lowest, if he's big boned, if the transmission's gone out or the hammy just doesn't have him able to do the blow bys. I see it in spurts, but I say all that to say is for him, to be honest, they were in the game one, up until halftime. I saw that with my own two eyes. 4 now, but I'm saying, Dibs, he's not answering the bell. This is the ugliest watch when you talk about brand and style of basketball at the left of the playoffs. That's why I'm going under 207. I don't know if Philly can keep this close, but I know Miami without Lowry not having problems offensively, but the engine, there's no fluidity to it, so it's choppy. I'm taking under 207 in this one. And Dibs, I'm very confident there's not going to be a lot of makes in this one.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a rock fight, a little bit of an old school Eastern Conference game. I mean, it feels like the under would be the play on the 207. And based on that, I'm going to take Philadelphia and 8.5. I think 8.5 is a ton of points when you talk about James Harden. I know he struggled in the game one. He was just 5 of 13. He had 16 points. Tobias Harris did his best to carry the load. He had 27. The Heat covered 7.5 in game one. They beat Philly by 14, but I think with Miami's injury concerns and Philadelphia also, obviously with Joel Embiid being hurt as well, I like Philadelphia in the 8.5, them keeping it close. This game being a little bit more of a nip and tuck affair, 94-88. I love the under, but I also like Philly in the points tonight.
I love that, and I get your thinking. I'll say this. How can I feel bad for a millionaire, but Joel Embiid to play through the Jimmy Garoppolo, as I deem it, hand injury. And then in the 29-point lead blowout game, 4 minutes left, he's still out there. That's on Doc Rivers. I just feel bad that he had to miss game one. He'll miss two. Hopefully in Philly he'll be available. But Dibs, that's totally on Doc Rivers. And his 2 cents was to come to his own defense. Oh, I had somebody at the storage table.
Right.
It's too late. The accident already happened. Why were you lagging? But I feel bad for Philly fans. And again, they could pull off an upset, but I like your plus 8.5, and I'm taking the under. But I just feel bad for Joel Embiid.
Yeah, no doubt. He got hurt in garbage time, and now Philadelphia's future is in jeopardy. And you remember, I had them at plus 600 to win the Eastern Conference, and now that's in a little bit of jeopardy based on the Embiid injury. By the way, the Heat are 24 and 21 against the spread this year at home. So a little bit of a coin toss, close to 500 for the Heat. So we'll see what happens tonight. The late game, Dallas at Phoenix. Phoenix held off a late Dallas run to win game one by 7, and they actually did cover the 6-point spread at home. The Suns were too big on the glass. They out rebounded Dallas. Do you feel like this is one of those games where Phoenix takes control of the series?
Yeah, they do, and they're the better team. And what Luka's doing at this young age is just incredible. But it's kind of funny because I don't hear the same whispers from the Harden haters when he was dribble, 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 dribble. Well,
Right.
Luka, as fantastic as he is, he's got that same format. But to his credit, he tries to get others involved. And I got to tell you this: I like watching Dallas play because we're in the era of the three ball, but they got about 5 or 6 good dudes that can hit the three, but they can't hit it at the consistency that Luka does. But with that said, I think they're going over like they did last game. It's set at 217. I don't expect Dallas to they kind of keep it close, but a lot of their points, they don't got a traditional big to where they can throw it down in there. Comes from the three. And I think we see over 217 tonight, Dibs. And again, it was 235 last game, as you just spoke about. So I'm very excited about the over in this one.
Yeah, I like Phoenix, given the 6.5 based on Booker being back and Chris Paul, and you mentioned DeAndre Ayton and Dallas not having a big, and the Suns dominating the glass, which means more possessions. And the Suns, by the way, have beaten the Mavs in 7 straight, going all the way back to the beginning of last season.
Wow.
And they're 5-2 against the spread in those games. So I'm thinking about Phoenix, and I'm going to give the 6.5 and feel comfortable with the home team, the top seed. Memphis unable to really control their series at home. Philadelphia and Miami, there's injuries. Philadelphia can't really contend with what Miami's got going on. So I'm going to look for Phoenix to take a 2-0 lead with all their players back and really put their foot on the throat of Dallas tonight.
You know what? And I like that. And I probably will do it. But I got to tell you just about Phoenix and fit. We saw, and we're right here in the Bay Area with Kevin Durant. It was almost, you can make an argument the Warriors didn't need him because they had so much firepower and weaponry already. But when he came, it was like a video game. But when you talk about having ingredients to a great meal, pepper, what the salt, all kind of the different ingredients. That's what Phoenix is. They
Yeah.
match. They got the goon and Crowder who can step out and hit the three and mix it up. They got young Bridges with length. Chris Paul, the captain. Booker can shoot. The big and Aiton. And I don't know why I'm acting shocked, Dibs, but I kind of disrespected their journey to the finals last year. They're a damn good team, and whoever beats them, you're going to have to earn it. And again, I'm not saying something we don't know, but Dallas ain't ready to be that team.
I agree. I mean, Dallas would have to get by Phoenix and then get by Memphis
Oh,
or
yeah.
Golden State. It's an uphill battle. Coming up in a moment here, Goo, we'll look at the new NBA futures odds. But first, it's Liquidate All Assets with Guru and Dibs, brought to you by Livermore Casino, the Tri Valley's place to play. Game day special Sunday 10 to 8, Monday and Thursday 5 to 9. Get a hot dog for $2.50. Chili dog, just an extra buck at Livermore Casino. Domestic draft beers, just $2.50. Imports, well, cocktails, only $4 at Livermore Casino, First Street in downtown Livermore. Goo, we got to talk about the futures odds as it pertains to the NBA and where we are. The Warriors are no longer the favorite for the NBA Finals. The Suns plus 230, the Warriors plus 340. These odds being refreshed in real time.
Yeah, well, the Warriors, what we do know about their changes is there is no Gary Payton II. And my heart, just like I know yours, breaks for him. because he was one of the best stories going for the Golden State Warriors. But with that said, I'm not ready to rule them out of winning it all. I am concerned about the dogfight they're in, Dibs, but I wouldn't be mad if I would put some heavy chicken on Phoenix to win it too.
Yeah, Phoenix right now plus 105 to win the Western Conference. The Warriors are plus 150. By the way, Eastern Conference odds, the Heat plus 175, the Celtics plus 180, the Bucks plus 250. What do you think about the Bucks right now going into game two?
I'll say this, and it's actually three because they lost two
Yeah, my fault. My fault.
yesterday. After I jinxed it, I told Steiny Giannis is the best player in the league. I do believe it now. He's really went to the lab and add some enhancements to his game. But with that said, I watched that game yesterday, and there were chances Boston down 25, 26 points. Excuse me, Milwaukee could have made it close and got it under 10. So Boston, to their credit, hit every three they could, Dibs, into the second half. But I saw the ingredients of arguably one of the best, if not the best, defensive team without Chris Middleton, and that's the Bucks. I'm taking them to come out the East, and the fact that you're giving me plus action on it, I'm all in.
Yeah, plus 600 actually to win the NBA Finals. So that's actually kind of a nice odds if you think they can come out of the East and they can still win the whole NBA Finals. The Suns are plus 230 to win it all. The Warriors plus 340, Celtics plus 450, the Heat actually plus 500, then the Bucks, then the Grizzlies,
Wow.
the 76ers 35 to 1 goo to win the whole thing.
Yeah, and remember I was calling Harden Embiid's Kobe because I thought the first couple of games we were seeing the blow-bys, but how the mighty have fallen. And again, even if Embiid comes back, they may be facing a 2-0 deficit. But if he were healthy, I would lay something down, but he's not. And I won't call him the fat man, but James Harden has really disappointed me by not answering all the critics like JJ Redick's and all the others that say physically he's done. I'm almost there, Dibs. But if I heard something about that being said about myself and I knew I still had, that burst, that's all it would take for me to throw up the double birds to go Draymond and
Wow.
Kyrie. But
Double birds. That's
I,
strong.
I I have nothing for Philly, man. I just don't. And Doc Rivers hey, they may be looking for a new job here, Dibs.
That was
Yeah.
a 3 for your life. That was a
That's
quick
all I
mock.
had left. I'm fighting for
That
my
was
life.
a quick. I'm fighting for my life. That was a quick mock. I love it, and they are fighting for their life. Coming up today here at Miami. I do want to look real quick at tomorrow's game. You mentioned it, Boston and Milwaukee. The Bucks actually 2.5 point favorites at home, 213.5 the over under. What do you think about tomorrow's early game? I'm sorry, Saturday and
Okay.
the early game, Boston and Milwaukee.
Man, I love it. What a platter. This is the first one, then Warriors and
Yeah.
Memphis resume. Dibs, I just told you, if this is my get your mattress money, 401k, liquidate all assets, Milwaukee's not losing two to Boston. And the reason I say that is Boston's offense just ran out of gas. You could say, well, they still won the game, but I watched it, and Milwaukee won't allow that to happen again. They won't be as lethargic as they were offensively, missing everything. And tip of the cap to the Celtics defense, but this is an automatic Milwaukee minus 2.5. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Liquidate all assets on Milwaukee. Actually, 3 now is the spread. It's moved up
Okay.
to 3, but Goo's not too worried about that, even though Milwaukee's got injury concerns, and well, so does Boston. Quite frankly, that's the early game on Saturday, 3:30 Eastern time, 12:30 our time. You'll get into Memphis and Golden State a little bit later in the afternoon. It's Liquidate All Assets brought to you by Livermore Casino, the Tri Valley's place to play. Find us downtown Livermore, 3571 First Street in downtown Livermore. Livermore Casino, Tri Valley's place to play. Please play responsibly. Goo, MLB action goes on and on to the break of dawn. Outside of Cincinnati, Milwaukee, what do you like tonight on the big card?
I think outside of New York and Boston, the best rivalry in baseball to me is the Giants and Dodgers. And tonight we got Alex Wood versus Gosselin, and I think it's going to be great. I don't like the Giants' offense right now, but it's not the real Giants' offense. No Belt, no Wade Jr., no Longo, and they've been feast or famine. If the pitching's been there, they'll scrape out a couple of runs. And the Dodgers, they remember how close the Giants were on their heels last season. I'm taking the Dodgers on the run line, Dibs. I really feel like Alex Wood is going to have trouble getting and just taming this Dodger lineup, who only had 3 runs yesterday, but that was against the filthy Rodon. So right now, I'm looking at the run line, plus 135 for the Dodgers. I'm all in.
Yeah, minus 1.5 runs. I got it at plus 140, but you could find it at plus 135 as well. That's not bad, but I like the under on the Giants team total at 3.5,
Nice.
125. I think when you talk about the Giants left-hand hitting lineup, especially right now with the injuries and the COVID, no Lamont Wade, he's still not back. I think the Giants are a little bit vulnerable against right-hand pitching. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Giants under 3.5 on the team total.
That's beautiful, and I like that. And if you did this yesterday and took the under, you would have cashed your ticket. So I see what you're thinking.
I love it. What else you got in terms of baseball goo?
I got the my daily Milwaukee Brewers pick that we talked about. You know what that is. I'm going with Milwaukee. Now, I want to clarify something. You help me out.
Yeah.
Now, when I first brought this to you guys at the presentation, I was under the impression that the run line could never be more than 1.5. So am I looking at this when I come in tomorrow, if they win by 2, I'm a winner, or because Vegas has it at 2.5, they got to win by 3? I just want to know before I start bragging.
No, you got it at 1.5. It's the Reds actually plus 1.5 is plus 110.
Okay.
Upon further review, Vladimir Gutierrez against Freddie Peralta. So if you want to lay it with Milwaukee, it's minus 130, minus 1.5.
Okay. And then I love that, Dibs. I just had to clarify. And then a game that we talked about on our national show at BetQL on Sundays, 9-1, a series and 2 teams is Toronto and New York. And they hook up tonight, and I'm taking the under 8.5. I think these 2 teams, though, we obviously know they don't like each other, but Cortez against Kikuchi, if I'm pronouncing that right, help me out, Dibs. But I'm looking at both these teams, and the pitchers are both in their groove, and I feel like not much runs scored. So I'm taking under 8.5 on the Yankees in Toronto tonight.
Okay, Yankees Toronto under 8.5, and yeah, it's Kikuchi and Nestor Cortez, and Cortez is minus 145. The Yankees on the money line, and Toronto plus 135. I actually like Toronto plus 135 on the money line. Forget the run line, which they're getting plus 1.5, which is minus 140. I think Toronto at home against a Yankee team that may not have a full complement. I like that. And, Toronto to me is quietly the class of the East.
Yeah.
As much as you're trying to fade Cincinnati, I'm trying to ride Toronto.
I like that, Dibs. All right. And I didn't know you felt that way, but now that's the positive side. So I like that. Dude, they got a great offense, and what about Gosman? The early Cy Youngs came out. I know it's early, but 1 month in, but he was up there, but he's been filthy, Dibs. But I'll say this before you answer about him. He was filthy the first half of last year, and the fall off was the second half, if I'm correct.
I love it. Yeah, the fall off was late. Absolutely in the year. Coming up, we'll give you some picks for the Kentucky Derby. But first, Guru, you're hot on hockey. Talk to me about your hockey picks.
Listen, people don't know this about me. Frankie Carrillo, a.k.a. 49er Frankie, one of my best friends. When I was introduced to sports, I'd go to his house. He had Sports Center, and we'd watch the NHL. So I know about Lindros, Mario Lemieux, and, all that stuff, the great one. But when I look at these betting odds, and, I'm a run line guy, hockey is the place to go. And tonight, the Hurricanes host the Bruins, who they've outscored 16-1, Dibs, in 3 matches this year. But the run line, the goal line, is plus 200 on minus 1.5. And what I know about hockey is when the team that's losing gets desperate and they're trying to get a goal, they pull their goalie. And so many times I see that puck go all the way down to an open net and cover. So I got Carolina winning the match, but also Boston panicking, and they win this by 2. And I'll put something on plus 200. I feel like an Einstein, so I'm ready to go with that one, Dibs.
I love it. The Hurricanes have outscored the Bruins 16-1 in 3 games, and Carolina looks to go up 2-0 in the series into Boston. So Carolina at home, you're looking for the Hurricanes to dominate in this one. And Linus Ullmark going up against Ante Ranta. He was dominant in the regular season. What about the Kings and the Oilers, Goo? The Kings are plus a goal and a half, minus 150 at Edmonton.
I'm gonna say this: the Kings dropped game 1, so that they don't want to go down 0-2. And I'll say this: I'm not a big minus guy, but they are not going down 0-2. So I'm putting some chicken on minus 150 to win this match. And again, it was a shocker that they dropped the first one, but I expect a barn burner. But I expect them to get out of this one, evening up this series 1-1.
Jonathan Quick is having a good year going up against Mike Smith, a couple of good goalies. Edmonton won the last 3 meetings, by the way, of the regular season. 2 of them were by 1 goal. So I like what you're saying about taking the Kings, maybe taking the goal and a half on the road. But you like Edmonton at home. I'm going to go with the Kings. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take the goal and a half and expect a 1-goal game, even though it's minus 150. I think I'm going to go with the LA Kings. St. Louis at Minnesota, Goo, as we break down a full slate of hockey.
Another plus 185 here, and I'm taking the Wild. Shout out Minnesota. I love these hockey names. But Dibs, when you look at it, everybody's put their money on Minnesota, and this is one of the 80% that won the cash to tickets betting on in the pregame, if that means anything to you. So that's where the money's going. But the Blues won game 1 4-0. So, an insane game by goaltender Husso, who stopped 37 shots. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ride the hot hand, and I'm going to fade the Wild in this one.
I love it. You're going with St. Louis, and you're going to fade the Wild. You're taking the goal and a half minus 225. I'm going to go under here, 6.5, and try and ride hot goalies to another tight playoff game. I think 6.5 is just too many. One more, Goo, before we go to the Kentucky Derby. Tampa Bay at Toronto. The Maple Leafs have had a great regular year. They've got Austin Matthews. They've had bad luck in the postseason. They failed to win a Stanley Cup since before you were born and before I was born. And by the way, the over has dominated for Tampa Bay lately, 8-1 over the last 9. What do you think about Tampa Bay and Toronto?
Oh, I love it, Dibs. And the over right now, 6.5 is plus 100, and that's where I'm going. How can I ignore those odds? Like, this is one where if it don't come in, you're like, I understand why I made it. So I think we'll see 7 goals combined, plus 100, your boys all the way in.
I love it. It's Vasilevsky against Jack Campbell in goal. Both have been pretty good goalies, but I like what you're saying about the trends. The over, by the way, 7-3 of the 10 previous contests where the Lightnings were underdogs. Tampa Bay is an underdog on the road at Toronto. Tampa Bay is a team that can score, so I like the overplay at 6.5 as well.
Let's do it. And don't sleep on, me. I like my uniforms and announcers, but the hockey, the announcers, they bring it, Dibs. It's incredible, especially when the game is close. I love it.
No doubt. It's time for some Kentucky Derby picks, Goo.
Let's do it.
As we get ready for the first Saturday in May. The Derby is coming up here in 3 days, and the post positions are out. Goo, I've got my superfecta picks for you. Are you ready?
Yes, and before you get to them, do we got a weather report? Because I know the weather can sometimes, Mother Nature can have something to do with this outcome. Is the sunshine come Saturday?
Yeah, pretty sunny and very mild. There's a chance for light rain, but the track will most likely be fast. The track will not be a factor in what goes on in the Derby.
I love it.
Well, my winner is coming from the 3-hole. He's one of the favorites. He is Epicenter, winner of the the Louisiana Derby in record time. I think Epicenter is the best horse in this field. We're going to go on Epicenter as our winner.
I love it. And before you get to the next one, Dibs, you know I'm always learning from you. I asked you a question about how important are jockeys on these horses, but you said when these horses are as thoroughbred as they are, yeah, the jockeys play a part, but it's so much about these horses. And you talked about the travel,
Yeah.
each of them, going through different experiences, get there. It was just fascinating. But Epicenter is your horse because you mentioned that last weekend too.
Yeah, Epicenter is my horse, and ultimately it's about the trainer, the jockey, the travel, the post position, the conditions of the track, and I really like the way Epicenter is looking coming in. Steve Asmussen, one of the great trainers in the field, and Epicenter breaking from a spot where he can really get to where he needs to get to. The other horses go in my superfecta, which is top 4. And
Okay.
these are in no particular order. I like Taiba, the 12 horse, the winner of the Santa Anita Derby. I like Zandon, the 10 horse. And as my wild card, we're going with the 15 horse White Abario.
All right. I love it. I love it. White Abario.
Yeah, he's a white horse. He's beautiful, and he's a game horse. I don't know if he's good enough to really make a run for the win, but he might be in that top 4, which is all you need when it comes to cashing checks.
Who's favored to win this, Dibs? Is it Epicenter?
Yeah, right now the favorite is Zandon, the 10
Sand.
horse at 3 to
Okay.
1. But once the bets come in, all these odds will change.
And I asked you about, here I go, #random. What goes into the positions that these horses line up in?
It's a random draw. They do just a complete random draw. And by the way, no horse in the 17 hole has ever won the Kentucky Derby, and that's Classic Causeway. Classic Causeway, if he wins out of the 17 gate, would be the first ever in 142 years.
If I'm a jockey and I'm a trainer, I do not want my horse in that area. That is phenomenal info.
No chance, bro. No chance. Hey, Goo, I'll see you tomorrow on the
Let's
air.
get this chicken, baby. I appreciate it.
My brother, I'll see you.